So I've had this crate sitting here for a couple weeks, and time to get it open. This is a magnetic sheet metal brake from Baileigh Industrial. I've wanted one of these for several years, and I haven't really had an actual need for it. But when I'm building the plasma table, now we got the mill and the lathe and all that stuff. So I've mainly, the justification on this was that I'm going to use this to build the enclosure for the Tormach mill. So it's basically the same amount of money as the enclosure. So, but I'll obviously have this to use for other projects. I have a lot of little boxes and stuff, and stuff like that that'd be really great for it. There's not a lot of videos on this online. There's the Baileigh Industrial, their commercial stuff, and then I think there might be one guy who actually has one of these that put up a couple videos. So thought I'd post unboxing this thing and kind of putting it together. So this thing weighs, I think it's 450-ish pounds. It does run on 230, so you have to have a welding extension cord. I've got one that I'm trading between all these machines. But we're going to get these boxes out and see if we can get this thing put together. Or not. So these are the metal sections that it uses in order to work as what's basically an infinite box and pan brake. So all these metal sections separate out, and then you can use as many or as few as you want to create your bending edge. So we've got this thing kind of exposed. Probably not something you want to put together by yourself, but when has that ever stopped me? Worst case, we'll pull out the gantry hoist and use that to raise it up. But I think if I didn't have this pile of plasma table parts and boxes here and kind of put myself into a corner, I think I can just break this end of this box out, put the legs on it, stand it up, probably do something semi-dangerous, but we'll see how it goes. That's not bad. So today was back day in the gym, so we'll see if I'm still in shape to lift this thing. Okay, we're gonna need a different plan. That thing is really top heavy, which, you know, makes sense. We're gonna do some rearranging to get the gantry over here. Okay, so we're gonna take this thing to the next level. Pull out my gantry hoist that I bought, showed off in a previous video. I bought it strictly to transport the Tormach mill and lathe. You could do this with just a normal engine hoist, which I also have, but it's stored in another building and it's a pain in the butt. So I've got this over here. It's 25 degrees outside, so we're going to use this. Get this thing rigged up. I've got it set up in a slower mode for lifting, you know, a higher amount of weight, so it's going to be a little slow, but there'll be plenty to lift this thing easily and make it safe. And yes, I know this stupid spring should not be right here, but I put that together in the dark and I haven't fixed it yet. Yes, that could be better, but I think it's going to work. So a gantry hoist really takes the place of not having people that want to hang out and help you out in your garage at 2 o'clock in the morning on a weeknight. Yeah, I know, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm seeing a problem in that I don't see a plug included with this. I mean, that kind of makes sense because different people have different setups. So I don't know that we're going to be able to make this thing work today. So I've reached that point that all people who don't read directions get to, where you're trying to figure out
what bolt numbers line up with the amount of holes you have and stuff you have left to put back together. Wonder if it has a safety. There's either something holding it down, or it has a safety switch in it that it won't actually let it come up until the magnet is activated. So the idea on this is this thing has all the cosmoline in the world on it. So one of the things I wasn't clear on when I bought this, I knew it came with at least one full one and then the pieces, but it was, you know, still kind of vague. But it looks like I've got this one that is that's sort of already sectioned, and then there's another full one. So you've got these cams that you can adjust the spacing back from the edge for thicker and thinner materials. And then it's spring loaded, it looks like, so when it clamps down, you know, it pulls that tight. Yeah, this all needs to get cleaned up. So these have pins in them. Yeah, so basically you can take this off and then interchange it with these shorter sections, or well, it looks like there's actually two more. So we've got this long one. Then we've got this one that's the same as the one I've already got on there, except for that it's a continuous piece. Seems to balance okay. It's an interesting storage challenge. You got all these, I mean, you can lean them up against the wall, I guess, but the other thing about this is that it's essentially open-ended, which may be what this is for, but I mean the spring-loaded section on here, from what I've seen online from the minimal videos, is that you can, you know, run it out. I mean, you can at least lift it up and pull it out, but with this and with these, you can put a sheet that's longer and then kind of work it, I think, do a little bit at a time and get it so that it was all, you know, a longer piece was bent. But we're going to, I thought for a minute about stealing electrical connection off of another machine, but I think we're going to go ahead and wait and get the right plug and and just set this machine up instead of taking something else offline. But I'll go ahead and do that later and add that to this video. Oh, one other thing. This does have a foot pedal, so basically you can set what you're doing, get it lined up, and then that'll activate the clamping while you're bending. And I assume, you know, it's only on when you have that down, but we'll find out about that after we get it under power. Okay, just to finish up the unboxing video for the Baileigh magnetic brake here. I just got a FedEx pallet with 2 pallets from Tormach, so I need to move this thing out of the way. But I did get it wired up. They do have a weird thing, and you know, it may matter for some people, where they want it to be plus or minus 5% of 220 volts, or you need to call them, I guess. I was within that, so I didn't have to worry about that, but there was a tag on the plug. Wasn't something I was aware of before, but I would think in most areas that shouldn't be an issue, but I guess maybe because of the electromagnet it needs to be more specific. So we've got the foot pedal down here all hooked up, and so this is, I've got the solid edge on it right now, and this one I figured out is basically just a short box and pan brake, because you can come up between these slots is what it shows in the manual. That seems kind of, I mean, I guess if you didn't want to have to lift this piece off and keep switching to smaller ones in order to get inside of the box that you were making, I could see where that could be a plus, or maybe if they sold it without these extra blocks or something. I'm thinking maybe it's more of an all-around, hey, I can use it if you were in a situation where you're just making, I mean, what, 1.5 inch deep pans, but you wanted the full edge on there, and you didn't want to have to keep lifting these things off and switching them around. So I've got the solid edge, and then I've got the this edge with the slots in it that also has the adjusters on it, and then there's the solid edge. It does not have any adjusters on it, but it's narrower. I guess the intention for that was, as I talked about earlier, doing long sheets where you don't have the ends on. Really, they're not really on, they just sit here and they're spring loaded. But that would allow you, I'm assuming, to do something that stuck out the edge, because you didn't have the adjuster here in the end. Not that it really stops you because it's spring loaded, but I would assume get less clamping force because it's not as wide a piece of steel here. And then obviously we've got all the little pieces that I showed you here setting in the pan, and several of these are pinned together, and you just have to kind of work them apart, but you can work them back together. So I've got a piece of 16 gauge, just a little piece of scrap, and I'm going to go ahead and make a quick little bend. They do have this edge on the front here is removable, and they want you to make marks on it so that you can put it back in the same way. I don't know if it's made to fit. It doesn't seem like it is, but I'm not going to take that off for this, but we'll just reorient the camera and do a little quick bend on this short piece of 16 gauge. Okay, so we've got our power on, and we got our foot pedal. Got our small piece of 16 gauge here. So this sets in a cam here, and you can adjust it back, and I would assume that you want to have these set the same. Back from the edge. Do the same thing I did before and push it all the way out the other side. But basically you just get your bend lined up, you gotta hit start, and it'll sort of clamp down, and then, oh wait a minute, actually. Okay, so I've got it on intermittent. Okay, yeah, so now it works with the foot pedal. So the foot pedal will lock it, and then as you start to move, it clamps down more. You hear a little click there. And you can set, there's stops on here. Like say we wanted to go, well, this is marked as 90 degrees. That seems like it's over 90, but maybe they've got that accounted for. Yeah, that looks a little bit over 90. But we made a pretty quick little bend in that 16 gauge, and you know, I think this is only rated for 16 gauge. You could probably push that a little bit, it seems like, and that was kind of what I was wondering with the full clamping on there, whether you could deal with thicker aluminum or, you know, other things like that, more than what it's rated for if you're not doing the full width. But looks pretty good. Obviously there's some adjustments that can be made to tighten this up and make sure that we get to the right angle that we're looking at, but that we're shooting for. But you've got these you've got this stop on here, and actually I showed before I couldn't lift it up before, and I thought it was locked, and that was actually just that this stop was tight. So you've got your degree increments, I guess, on here. I have to play around and see how much that lines up with reality, but you can set this stop so that you have repeatability. Once you get it for your material and your spring back that you're going to get your 90-degree angle or whatever angle you're shooting for, you can just set it and have repeatability there. You've also got stops similar on the back as a work stop, so that's nice. Still haven't figured out, I guess these are just gonna, I mean, they seem to sit okay like that on the back of there, but obviously that kind of restricts what you're able to use, but I should be able to stand them up against the side. And I think I'm going to make some kind of frame underneath this in order to pick this up with a pallet jack and move it around. The idea is that this is going to sit under one side with the back underneath the plasma table, but still like to be able to move it, and I think being able to put the pallet jack underneath it and pick it up, but probably going to have to make some kind of frame in order to do that. But all in all, should be a great machine. Probably do a couple little things with it first before I work on that enclosure for the Tormach mill. But now I'm going to move on to getting those pallets in here with the tool changer and turret and the enclosure and a bunch of tooling for the Tormach mill and the Tormach lathe. Thanks for watching.